This is a 2028 primary poll for the Democratic primary to give you guys an idea where people are right now in the Democratic base upon who is the future of the party. It's all over the place. There's no real clear leader. Harris is the statistical leader at 28%, but 28% is only 7 points away from the second place winner, which is AOC. And recent polling did indicate that Democrats do want the party to take a more progressive direction, and her high polling numbers might be, it was over 50%, mind you, and these high polling numbers might be an indication of where the base is. Buttigieg is next at 14, Gavin Newsom at 6, Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, at 5, Kelly at 4, that is Mark Kelly, governor from Arizona, Pritzker, Illinois governor, he's at 3. Mark Cuban at 3. The billionaire Governor Gretchen Whitmer from Michigan at 3. And Governor Andy Beshear from Kentucky, the most popular governor in the country, at least the most popular Democratic governor in the country, at 3%. It's all over the place. To say that there is a leader in the Democratic Party ahead of the fold would be a lie. There is a Democratic caucus leader in the House, you know, there's Hakeem Jeffries, there's a Senate leader and Chuck Schumer, who is not viewed with love amongst all those in the party rank, and especially those in the base right now due to recent decisions. But we don't really have a leader of the party for somebody who is taking us forward and is a possible future torchbearer. Bernie Sanders is the person leading the torch when it comes to rallying the public at these anti-oligarch rallies that are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I just saw some photographs earlier today, and my God, those rallies are getting bigger. They are every time. And so you could say that he's a leader, but the dude is 83 years old. By the time the election would come around, like, Bernie Sanders is way too old to run. He can't be the guy. It sucks that once he was no longer a threat to be president of the United States is when the party has largely embraced him. We should still take advantage of the fact, but we should acknowledge that it was only after he passed the party as a legitimate populist threat from within the Democratic base against those who are the traditional power brokers. So it is unfortunate, but it is the fact of the matter. And so we're going to have somebody else, even if Bernie can still help, rally the base and help pass the torch forward. There has to be somebody else. And right now there is no clear winner. Harris is ahead, AOC at the heels, Buttigieg at the heels of her, and then all the way down to Newsom at 6. We also got some recent polling data from CNN about how polling is going for Trump among independents at this stage in his presidency, and how it's even worse than at this stage back in 2016 during his first term. Now, Donald Trump has had historically disastrous first 100-day honeymoon periods in comparison to other presidents. The only president who has polled worse during this period, during the honeymoon first 100 days, when Biden had numbers that were 70 and 60% range, the only other person that polled where Trump is now, where he's now already in the negative numbers, is Donald Trump during his first term. But now we're seeing his polling amongst independents as even worse than before, indicating that the independents who voted for Trump based on the economy is not taking his tariff trade war particularly well, or any of the moves he's making in the economy, which the American public are polling him disastrously for right now. Let's watch the CNN segment breaking down some of the numbers. Thank you, 15-second CNN ad. You're everything I ever wanted. Ah, yes, cryptocurrency. I always knew I needed another Bitcoin or two. Oh, Kraken. Oh, wow. Okay.
In on independents here, and independents feel that Donald Trump has vacated the center of the electorate, catering to his base. What are we talking about? Well, let's talk about the overall net approval ratings. We're going to look at the worst ever at this point in a presidency. The old record among independents for the worst ever was Donald Trump back in 2016, a net approval rating of minus 16 points. Well, Donald Trump has broken his own record here. He now holds, in this particular term, the worst ever net approval rating at this point in a presidency among independents at, get this, minus 22 points. He is 22 points underwater with independents. That breaks the old record that belonged to Trump. He has set the new record. He is completely underwater with the center of the electorate, Kate Baldwin.
And this is overall. This
Yes.
is on all the issues. Now, focus in specifically on the economy.
Yeah, let's focus in on the economy, right? What is driving this overall approval rating for Donald Trump among independents to go underwater? Let's take a look at the economy, and let's take a look at Trump's net approval rating on it, and look at the trend line over.
A 30-point drop in 4 months. Again, I told you guys, Trump was elected off of an economic mandate that the American people did not like the status quo for working people. And they seen him as a businessman, Mr. Real Estate Guy, art of the deal. This image he's created of himself as a primo, best brander in the business, one of his best skills is branding. He was able to convince people that he had the economic know-how. Then he went in there, instituted tariffs like it was 1883, and the economy reacted accordingly. And now he's down 30 points because they didn't vote for him to make bananas more expensive. They voted for him because he said on day one he was going to help bring grocery prices down, and he's no longer delivering on that promise. If he ever intended to, I mean, I can't say. That's in his mind, not mine.
For just the last few months. You go back to January, he was slightly above water with independents at +1 point. Look at this drop, Kate. Oh my, minus 29 points. That's a 30-point drop in under 3 months of time. What independents are hearing from Donald Trump, they hate. They hate what they're hearing from Donald Trump, and they are abandoning him in record numbers. At this point in his last presidency, he was about at 0 points in terms of his net approval rating on the economy, and now he's at minus 29 points. You go back through the record books, I simply put, Kate Baldwin, can't find anything close to this. This is such a record that there is no historical analogy to be 29 points underwater on the most important issue of the day with independents. This right here, my dear friends, is political poison. If an election were held today and Donald Trump's net approval rating in the economy was minus 29 points with independents, I'm not quite sure how Republicans can hold on to the House of Representatives.
Is it all tariffs that are driving this?
Yeah, okay. So let's take a look here at tariffs. This is definitely part of it. A clear plan for tariffs and trade among independents. Look at this. 57% say no. He doesn't even have a clear plan for what he should be doing with tariffs and trade. And when asked whether or not they like the idea of additional tariffs, guess what percentage of independents say no, that they oppose it? It is 2/3. It is 66% of independents who oppose new tariffs. They don't like anything that's coming out of Donald Trump's right now, absent maybe immigration. But when it comes to the economy, when it comes to overall, when it comes to tariff, it's a threesome for negativity among independents. They oppose, oppose, oppose. They simply put, do not like the words that are coming out of Donald Trump's mouth and the plans that he is putting forward to the American public.
So this right here is electoral poison, but there could be a philosophy of the Trump administration. You pull the Band-Aid off now when it comes to tariffs. And so you have that dip now and you reap benefits later, because then maybe people no longer feel the pain as much in 2 years. But the problem is that he's already rolling back a lot of his tariff policy without getting concessions, whether it was on electronics or Taiwan or Vietnam or in all these different countries. And, you know, the concessions that were offered, like 0 for 0 tariff concessions, were not taken because it really wasn't based on tariffs. It was based off of trade deficits, which makes no sense when trying to create trade policies with countries as, poor when it comes to their consumer market as Vietnam, considering our trading relationship with them. And so it's not hard to see not only a lack of agreement with Trump's tariff policy, which you might have not agreed with the idea of this massive tax increase in the first place, but it's also stacked upon the idea that it really doesn't look like he has a clear plan. And this is a pattern of behavior for Trump, where he says he has a plan, he doesn't reveal it, gets in there, and, then he's got the concepts of a plan again that we saw so notoriously during the debate. And once again, the tariff policy was concepts of a plan from historical fan fiction based on President McKinley. And so it was no surprise the American public got yippee, and this is probably when he met these independent polling numbers, and he backed off of a lot of it. But even with the backing off of a lot of it, some of it stayed in place, and with China, the situation still in some extent escalating. And Goldman Sachs and other big financial conglomerates are still predicting high possibility for a recession. So he might have already put some pieces in place that created a ripple effect that it's going to be difficult for him to move us out of. Hopefully not. I'd like my grandmother to be able to retire, but the situation certainly is no bueno for the economy. We've been using that word a lot today. Using that word a lot. No bueno. Okay. The people who scoff at any potential for things to get worse are simply cowards cloaking themselves in false composure. I mean,